Welcome, everybody. Episode 43 of the latest, Brad.
Hey,
Um,
David. Welcome, everybody. Episode 43. It's been almost a year. We've had maybe 3 weeks where we were in Vegas or something or other. Otherwise, it's coming up on a year.
Vegas, we did, Brad. And I was just thinking about CES last night. 'Cause they've got a couple of emails. Like, why are they emailing me so early? About AI. I'm like, maybe we should propose something to them. I'm like, wait a minute. It's already almost October. Yes, it's time to get our act together for CES.
Uh-huh.
So we'll have to
Mm-hmm.
talk about that. Maybe have a meeting about that next week because I think there's a lot of things will be happening at CES this year, and I had some ideas I wanted to bounce off of you.
Cool. All right. Well, let's talk what's the latest, David. There's always something that's the latest in AI software. I do get the sense that a lot of these big companies have more firmly established their presence in the software market and they've more firmly established what they do, and that we are now talking features details more so than big, new waves of technology. That's what I'm seeing. And as soon as I say that next week, you never know what might show up.
Crazy, right? So for me, this week, which looks like it came out 2 weeks ago, can't believe it didn't cross my radar till this week. I feel so behind. But is ByteDance, who owns TikTok, their SeaDream 4.0 release, which was compared to Nano Banana by one of my people.
Hmm.
Have you played with it all, Brad? Or Nano Banana is so good? Do we need anything else? But when they can kind of build out tools within these ecosystems, great. And I believe Oracle Oracle are buying them. I think, right? I don't know. I forgot what the current deal was between the administration and what TikTok could do.
I saw it, but I didn't chase it. I've not been like a massive TikTok user. It's a good reminder that maybe TikTok has evolved. Because when I first saw it, it seemed, hmm. Okay. So
Yeah.
ByteDance has Seed Dream, and the internet is saying, why is it special? It's released in August, like you're saying. It's not too new, but it's still new. It combines text to image and image editing in one system. It's difficult tasks that it can handle, consistent details, high quality images, up to 4K resolution. That's good. Um, I think I've got a side by side comparison here. Oh, I thought I had one here. Um, hmm.
So one of our guys that does kind of starts off some of the animations that we do within our TV shows and Stone AI, had been very, yeah, using mostly Firefly, Nano Banana. It's interesting to see with some of the tools from ByteDance, once they do get bought by a US company, will they be able will networks accept them, broadcasters accept them, right? It's kind of a moving target out there as companies continue to be very careful of infringing on other people's IP, protecting their own IP. It's just limited tools are done for what the different networks have decided, and it just seems like a moving target out there. And until there's litigation about a lot of this, I don't know that we're going to see many changes.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's the thing, David, is yeah, I'm reminded of they're so low stakes. I'll finish that sentence. They're so low stakes on an individual basis and such high stakes on the collective basis. I'm reminded of the late 90s when internet service providers, the company that you pay a monthly fee to get your internet signal, um, major telecoms or satellite companies now, there was a time where if your internet signal was using some channel to download music, as soon as the recording artistry industry said, "Hey, that's illegal," there were times where a very, very small percentage of people were getting dinged by the internet service provider who went and said, hey, you downloaded 1,000 albums and we're going to charge you per song. Do you remember that? It was really minuscule, but it was like adding a single drop of ink into the water that a lot of, I would say parents, because in those years, the late 90s, it was usually the teenagers that were on the internet and the parents that were paying the bill. A lot of parents got very scared and said, oh, you can't do this.
Right.
And that's my analogy, is that I think what would have to happen in order to be effective is to penalize a couple of people a really high amount for making that image of Superman and posting it somewhere or whatever the case is. And yet, there's people like us just blogging about it or creating podcasts about it. We're not doing a commercial usage of it. We're just saying like, hey, this exists. But it seems like you're saying it's such a moving target. It's so hard to stop people from moving to the Chinese version, the Korean version, the Swedish version, the French version, the American version of the software. And then what? I don't know. You're going to go sue someone for $1 million because they made a Disney image or a Marvel image, which is Disney, or a Star Wars image, which is Disney. I don't know.
Totally. And I believe, was it last week when Warner Brothers added on to that the lawsuit against the graphics company? God, they keep jumping out of my head. The graphics company, Brad, the Disney's suing the image model company called,
was it Midjourney? Was it?
Thank you, Midjourney.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. I mean, right? So we, I feel like we'll start seeing a lot of some decisions on some things, right? I think the Anthropic, that was more class action. I don't know if that had to do with policy around who owns what. So we'll see.
I always say, David, half of these things are just the other side of marketing and sales.
Right.
One side of marketing and sales is put on the shelf with a price tag and say, come and get it. The other side of marketing and sales is to talk about it in this other way. But at the end of the day, you were talking about the consumer good. You're like, and those Nike shoes were made in a country over here. And those Nike shoes, and people are like, all I heard was Nike shoes or Pepsi Cola or Doritos or KFC or Wendy's. Like there's a Ford General Motors effect that no matter what the story is, you leave the story and you're like, hey, Barbie dolls, hey, Mattel, hey, Hasbro toys, whatever it is. There's just products that are so iconic in our mind that a story that's shocking in the moment fades. And then you're just like, Anthropic. Yeah, I could use Anthropic. So, I'm going to jump right on that, David, because that was on my list of things to share here.
That's a huge story this week.
Is that Anthropic's Claude. So for people who don't know, for whatever reason, if you don't know, Claude is one of the major large language models where you can type in information and get a research or some computer code. It's one of the new tools. And so Anthropic's Claude, it makes a first big advertisement play to take on AI rivals. The campaign represents a multi-million-dollar media investment that tells me, David, that there's money to be made. As soon as a company with money spends money, I think they're going to earn more money by spending that money. So again, when I see these lawsuits, when I see these, fines or the potential for fines, I think to myself, it's fairly reasonable to say someone might have done a calculation and said, hey, the press is worth $7 million. And if the fine is under $7 million, the effort was worth it, especially if you might not get caught for a while, whatever that thing is. Scraping libraries, taking from whichever repository of information, there it is. So, these are big companies and big stakes, and these are big billboards. Claude, the AI for problem solvers, there has never been a better time to have a problem, right? On the side of a building, right? The campaign will include prominent media placements, such as broadcast during live sports events. I don't know that I've seen a ChatGPT or Gemini have. Services such as Netflix, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Podcast, Influencer. That's a big campaign.
Totally. And I think Amazon owns the Thursday night NFL games.
On Prime. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think it's all open. Right, right. So right there, Amazon has a huge channel to kind of push out what they're doing. Would they block what others are doing? Probably.
Yeah. Well, let's get some quick hits in here. The Perplexity Comet browser. So people use Chrome or Safari or Firefox as their internet browser. Perplexity, the company, now has an AI browser called Comet. I guess it's landing in India. I've not used it. I'm a little hesitant because our friend Michael Knopfsinger said, you know what, you might be giving everything on your desktop that's open at that time, or everything on your screen that's open at that time, to the internet company. Um, and not just to an internet company that like takes a screenshot, but to an artificial intelligence that might like instantly database it and instantly action it. Like there are companies that are from different countries than where I am in North America that have different rules and different boundaries, and so I'm just hesitant. To me, there's a difference between using the tool where I know it's just like I'm searching about gardening or barbecuing or something, very simple and plain, straightforward and plain, versus I also have my taxes open, or I have my bank information open, or I had some, other document with sensitive information, customers' name and clients' names and things like that. I'm just cautious of it when I hear someone say it might have eyes on every open document. That gives me pause. Um,
Right.
what else do we have here? Gamma. For people who like the Gamma software, they've redone their logo. They've introduced Gamma 3.0, this era of human connection. It's like AI inside your slide deck maker. This came through 18 hours ago, so it's fairly new. In the Gamma Pro plan, so if you're a Pro member, there's new AI features that are powered by monthly credits. So you don't change the price. Their AI agent is available to Pro users. You can try it free till the end of the month. And then starting in October, the agent requests will use credits. You can get API access. You get 4,000 credits every month. And then you'll see them. It powers the agent, the API, and then the image models that are considered ultra.
Oh
And then
wow.
this is the good thing is your unused credits roll over. So it's not like you have to frantically on the 29th day of the month crank out some information. And then it says quick edits are included. So errors won't cost you credits. And then you can purchase more coming in October. So that's from Gamma. That's new.
That's interesting. I'll be curious, and I will check in the Gamma Slack just to see. I don't know how many credits are used to do what, so I'll play with that and report back next week.
Now, I like Notebook LM. I like it a lot. But then this is from 2 days ago. Ben Calese, he said, Adobe has brought AI into the heart of the PDF. So this is not new news that, you could go to Adobe and then use some AI software features inside your PDF. But now he said the user interface has been improved. It can ingest and manage data in a different way. Adobe, right, Acrobat Studio lets you add up to 100 files per PDF space. That's a lot of PDFs. Right? Notebook supports up to 50 if you're a free member. Okay. They differ in purpose and philosophy. Acrobat Studio is built for production. It integrates with tools like Adobe Express and Firefly. So if you want to package insights into visuals, Notebook is good for synthesizing and learning. And then he compares each platform. You upload your sources. Notebook is direct. If the files don't cover a topic, it tells you like, hey, that's not in my file system. On the other hand, Acrobat Studio will surface what's in your files. It'll generate summaries and insight cards. Adobe emphasizes a guided exploration via cards and prompts. And there's pre-built assistants, analyst, entertainer, instructor. So Adobe is focusing on structured document interaction. I need a deeper dive into it. All these things, David, they're so new. There's 5 things in the last 18 hours or 24 hours that you each want to do 3 hours in. You want to eat, you want to sleep, you want to hug your kids, all the things in between. You want to walk your dog. So there's an ecosystem and economics comparison. Adobe is part of a strategy to keep you in their environment. And Notebook is the same thing, but Notebook is part of their free system. Adobe is $25 a month and 30 for teams. And Notebook gives you more for a free tier. And here's their suggestion that there's no single best tool. If your goal is to synthesize information, so take a bunch of files and pull out the middle of it and learn from it, master a topic, prepare for an exam, it's Notebook. They said that the Acrobat Studio from Adobe is better if you're making productions, turning information into a proposal, a social post, or a documented report. And that's different. So I get what they're saying. It's like a combination of softwares. So that's from Adobe. We talked about Gemini. Gemini has this thing called Storybook. So I took took one of my screenplays, and then check this out. I just said to make it. I don't even think I gave much instructions. It used really accurate information from my screenplay, right? Where these two characters, they charm the man at the gun store with money and grab a gun from off the counter, right? But I got to tell you, the visuals are absolutely breathtaking because it's very much what I pictured for these two characters. Like it's really fun and dynamic. This looks like a cartoon from the late 90s, David. It took a couple of clicks, and this is exactly what I would picture from the screenplay. This is like 3 pages of a screenplay where these two people steal a gun, shoot at a can in a back alley, and then end up in trouble. Here's something interesting. This is rumor. This is gossip. I'll say it again. This is gossipy rumor. But users are saying ChatGPT has been lobotomized by a secret new update. This is from Futurism. This is from 2 days ago. So some people are saying that it seems a little stupider. Reddit users are complaining about this. ChatGPT users have gathered on Reddit to note that they think that maybe there's been heat from politicians, right? And they're saying that maybe it's because that one boy, his parents are alleging that he committed suicide after a conversation with ChatGPT. And I'll say for any record there, I have not researched it, but I watched the father speak, and David, I don't have like a questioning doubt. I don't put even a percentage of like maybe that didn't happen. I think that happened. I don't know about you. You know what I mean? Like in an unofficial way, I think that happened. So it seems like perhaps OpenAI has responded, but then in doing so, maybe there's some nuances to work out. So there's that. We looked at this. We looked at this. David, I did a quick look at the SeaDream stuff. I didn't see anything super impressive, I gotta say. Like I looked at it and I'm just like, okay, there's a little animation of a fox. It did not look good. Like it didn't look bad. But like, if I wanted to say, like, did I believe that girl is standing in front of that fox? No, it looks like a superimpose of a zoomed in photo and then a green screen person. It didn't look like I was now believing in the magic of the moment.
Right. It certainly doesn't look as rich as some of that nano banana stuff for sure.
Yeah, we looked at Perplexity. Notebook, I continue to urge people to go look at Notebook LM. There's so many new things that come to it. I think keep your eyes on the space of Notebook. I was hoping there was something new, but there wasn't. Manus. I like Manus. Have you used Manus much, David?
Not in the last couple of months, and I feel like probably need to. I always feel like Manus and Perplexity are two programs. I just it's so hard. And I know you organize this stuff so well, Brad.
Yeah.
Maybe too, you could even show your Google that exactly that, right? So yes, I need to stay on top of that. Now, have you been using Manus much, or is this?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's specifically for bigger projects. I find that ChatGPT is good for like one piece of something, but when it gets bigger, I take it to Manus. So Manus has this like electricity plug button on their main screen, right? It's a large language model agent. So it's not just a language model, it's agentic. So it's like, what's that you're talking about? Some project? Well, I'm going to go through, do the research, compile it, make a document for you, and then turn that document into a slideshow and then let you edit the slideshow. I will say it's super frustrating if you want to properly edit the slideshow. there's just a massive learning curve to what it can and can't do. But if you just want something medium, it's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
check this out though, David. Inside Manus is that electricity button I showed you, right? That connect to apps. And when you click it, you can connect your Gmail, right? So it can draft replies, search your inbox, summarize your emails. You can connect it to your calendar, and then you can start to make like multiple connections, right? Like go in my email, check for something important, and then draft a reply, and then book that in my calendar. So you can see when I zoom out, I can scroll here. GitHub, Notion, Zapier, Asana, Monday, Make, Supabase. It goes on and on. Hugging Face, HubSpot, Stripe, Airtable. There's a lot of connectors here. Wix, Minimax, HeyGen, right?
Wow.
I know. So you can custom API and custom MCP, right? So you can connect it to Gemini, Grok, 11 Labs, Kling, N8N. Like, just if you're sleeping on Manus, check it out. And as always, do your own research. Do your own research. Research if this is for you. I'm just saying these things are here. And the other thing that's cool, David, this is from 2 weeks ago, is Manus now has collaboration. The cool thing about collaboration is when you're working on a project with someone who's not sitting beside you at the desk, you can put their email in and give them permission. And what they're going to do, David, is they're going to use just the file you're working on, just that thread of chats, right? But they're going to be using your credits. So when someone's like, oh, I don't have a Manus subscription and we're not on the same team, we're not in the same company, you're like, actually, I'll just let you continue using just this project and just my credits. So be mindful if you do collaborate with someone that you trust that they're not going to all of a sudden make a bunch of VO3 videos and crank all your credits down to zero. Which is funny. Claude, we talked
Right, and
about.
that's great, right? Because normally you both have to have accounts. It gets kicked up into an enterprise version, but that seems very flexible.
Yeah, and then the last thing was this one here. Oh, no, no. I had it down here. I'll bring it up here. I had Opera open. There we go. So now inside Microsoft 365 Copilot or Copilot, right, which is Microsoft's version of ChatGPT, or an AI inside your Microsoft ecosystem, you can now choose which language model, right? This is from yesterday. You can now choose Claude. So there's the addition of Claude Sonnet 4 and Claude Opus 4.1. So you get different models. They give you different things. So you can switch between OpenAI and Anthropic, or you can switch between ChatGPT and Claude. So for everybody who is at work and their company uses Microsoft and they heard all these people say, oh my gosh, I use Claude, it's so much better, you can now use Claude too. Do
And
we have
I feel this is a major breakthrough, Brad, because for coding, Claude has such great tools. Just opening people's eyes up in corporate. I feel a lot of them just use Copilot. I think that'll give
Mhm.
people some great experience and just open their eyes, to a lot of other things happening. So amazing.
Yeah, so then there's this one too. Perplexity, you were saying you don't use it enough. They're calling it from inbox to action. Turn your inbox into scheduled meetings, drafted replies, and clear priorities. This makes me think that Perplexity has just used Manus. Maybe they have. There's not that many companies. Maybe they just use the model for it. But if you're using Perplexity and you click your Gmail or your Outlook, look at this, right? AI is drafting the message. So Sarah Chen says, can we find 30 minutes to meet this week? And you to your assistant, you say, sure, I'm going to bring my assistant in. Your assistant says, I found these 3 times where you're available for 30 minutes. You say, hey, that's great. And then your assistant schedules that 30 minutes.
Wow.
All right.
That's crazy.
So
Um,
scheduling and calendar management. And they're saying you can get to inbox zero daily. You can know what needs a reply and what's for your information. The email system will automatically tag emails so you can focus on what matters. You have to respond to it. It's a notification. It's for your information. It's a meeting update. It's completed. That's kind of cool, right?
that's incredible. I'm
Right.
committed to using Perplexity. Now, is that just part of the $20 plan or however much it is a month? I mean, it's not like or is it the $200 plan?
I can't imagine this being the $200 plan, David. So
That's because
this
this is
says respond. I think it looks great. So you can respond with AI drafted responses. I think the key here is to say that they make a draft. I don't think it sends it. I think you have to click send. So in case it says that's just free, why don't you just keep it? You're like, no, I would never have given that for free. Right? It matches your tone and your style. Set up meetings without the hassle. Email assistant handles the back and forth and puts meetings in the calendar for you. You can get summaries of meetings, key emails, and daily priorities. All right.
It really seems like this is, I mean, I think this is such a great move for them,
Yeah.
right? Differentiating themselves than the others, while they're all doing amazing things kind of in their own spot, but
Here we go. Email assistant for Max users. Perplexity Max. So maybe it is for the heavy hitter here. No. Perplexity Pro is 20 month. Okay. Yeah. Enterprise Pro. Can we get a pricing check here? Right.
get my inbox down to zero. I would pay anything. I don't know that it's possible.
How much? Oh, my bad. It is the $200. Womp womp. So, I mean, hey, like you're saying, if you're gonna put your monthly costs together and say how much am I worth an hour, and then be like, can I save $200 versus my hourly rate? And there's your answer. If you're $20 an hour, you got to save 10 hours. If you're $200 an hour, you got to save 1 hour.
Right?
Um,
Isn't that an assistant you'd hire?
yeah, that's true, right? Would you hire an assistant for $50 a week?
Exactly.
Right? And then pay them $15 an hour, and then for 3 hours they do stuff for you. So it's one way to look at it. And the last thing I want to show you is from Luma. It's the Ray 3 AI video generator. Going from prompt to video, right? So it's a reasoning model that can think, plan, and create studio grade content. And it features a native high definition generation and intelligent draft mode for rapid iteration. You hear those words, but let's pause for a second. So draft mode means that the quality might not be as high visually, but you can rapidly change it because a lot of these, they seem quick until you're sitting there and then it feels slow. So they're giving you a really high 10, 12, and 16-bit HDR video in the right format for professional studio workflows. You can do 20 times faster generation, perfect your concept in draft mode, and then render it in studio quality 4K HDR without changing the composition. So this model is going to think deeply about the prompts, understand the intent, and plan a sophisticated event sequence with visual reasoning. I got to tell you, these are impressive visuals.
They are. They are. And we sat down with the Luma people Friday after we had our show on Friday. Went through it. It's interesting. Um, yeah, it's interesting, but again, it's just going into the deep, having a better understanding of how are the models trained, what networks are using them for broadcast and having shows. A lot of people seem to just be unsure about that. So anyway, I think we're going to see a lot flesh out over the next 6 months. One of our shows that may have mentioned got killed. Well, first we couldn't use Google. We're kind of right in the middle of the development. So then VO3, which was such a great tool for what we were doing, was out. Then Sora got pulled from the enterprise at OpenAI. I still don't know what that's exactly all about. And then it's like, okay, well, we can't really do the project. We can't use one of these two tools. So it will be interesting. Yeah, just to see what comes out. Moon Valley, has some new ethically trained AI models for visuals, for video. We have to see. We have to look into it. So anyway. privacy, security. As I mentioned earlier, Brad probably said last week, every security conference I go to, it's all about AI for security and security for AI. When I go to some of the AI conferences, there might be a couple of things about privacy and AI. So I just think it's up to us to really support our users, have them share with us too, because it's too much, right? We can't all keep. When we find a safe thing, Manus is a Chinese company, right? Right, whatever, wherever they're based. I haven't met the people
Yeah.
involved, but who knows? Am I going to open them up to give them API access and all my stuff? Am I going to give that to any company, right?
Yeah. I think I tend to work less with sensitive data, more just, timely information, right?
Totally. But if it's on your computer, can it get in? Right? What are we unleashing? We had a whole talk last night. We have this, kind of an entertainment session every Wednesday, and we were talking about, this one woman was writing a book. Okay, if she's asking, using a little AI or kind of using it as this writing partner, what is AI? She had the AI tell her that that it was all her story ideas. She was just there to assist and help expand, right? So then we get into what's trademarkable or patentable, what's not. Lots of interesting stuff, right? Have you
You
looked much
know,
into that, Brad, being a writer?
well, I look at it like this. There's James Patterson, who's one of the biggest, he's one of the most prolific for sales ever. And I'll quickly check the stat, but James Patterson, he sold more than 425 million copies. So he's the
Wow.
best-selling author of all time. Okay, James Patterson. But what James Patterson does is he uses other writers. He just puts his name on it. Where instead of like Penguin Publishing says published by Penguin, he put his name on it like he was the author, but other people are writing his books.
I didn't realize that.
So it's like, is there a difference that he put his name on it? You think that James Patterson told you this story? It's a best storyteller ever, 400 million book sales. Like when someone says it's a Stephen King story, you're like, Stephen King knows what he's doing. Even if the first 10 or 15 minutes I don't get it, you're like, he's really good at what he does. I'll get it once it starts. And then it's like, well, is there a difference? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there a difference? He went and said, like, hey, I'm going to keep hiring the right person until you give me exactly what I want. And then when I like it, I'm going to put my name on it. Right. And if he got sloppy and never read it and he was at his, tiki hut in Tahiti and sipping a Mai Tai and he just faxed his agent and said, it's good enough. I'm on vacation. And then a turkey slipped through the gate. It's the same kind of thing. I don't know that that happened. I don't know that he's not meticulous with the red pen, underlining every word. It's the same thing. It's just at a different scale. And I'm sure someone will point out, Brad, the nuance is very different. You're probably right. It's true. But for my liking as a writer, there are other writers that you think wrote the book that didn't. They just put their name on it.
Right.
The same goes for people said that about Shakespeare. People said that about like Da Vinci and the big painters. They said that they didn't paint that. Their assistant painted that. Every speech by every president, you're like, they didn't write that, their assistant wrote that. There's so many instances of things where you think that person did the thing and you're like, actually their assistant did that or the writer did that. So when ChatGPT goes and does that stuff, I think it's the spell check equivalent. You still have to know what good looks like.
Totally.
ChatGPT could give you the world's best thing on the first try, and if you don't know what good is like, you're just like, I'm supposed to always ask it 4 times. So
Right.
be discerning, have taste, have skill, build up what you like, have a human insight, have soul. Those things are currently unmatched by AI software. So as a writer, I recognize these are great tools, but if you don't have someone like James Patterson who has the instinct and the guidance, you can't just go get a bunch of other writers and sell 400 million books.
Totally. And take, right, you've written books and all the research you've done, put that in a notebook LM, use that as your, brainstorming with yourself, right? So I think there's such different ways to use it. And yeah, people just have to be educated. And that's why we're here every Thursday.
Someone recently, like in the last 7 days, told me that there was this great new thing where they used a meeting recording and they took notes from it. And I thought, you know what? They've been focused on so many other aspects of their career. And now they're like, hey, this is a new thing that I can take my meeting notes from a recording and then not have to like manually go through all the notes. And I can get a summary, and the summary is pretty good. I read the summary. I'm like, that's what we talked about. So absolutely, it's never too late to join the latest and get some tips. The way we're using these softwares evolves every day. And I think it's fun.
Yes. Reach out to us. Come to an event. Oh man, I was up till midnight my time last night. I went to the WITI Europe Connect event. That was really good. And then fell asleep, woke up. Slovenia, a woman from Slovenia, Anya. Shout out to Anya. Runs a session right before we jump on. We're an always on world, Brad, literally.
Yes, we are. I know.
APAC, right? Lots of stuff happening at APAC. I got Human meeting with Robin and Singapore today. Was on late with the Hong Kong people last night. Great APAC, right? We'll do stuff with you guys on that. The world is small.
Yeah, it is. You're less than a day away from anywhere, more or less.
Exactly.
Like tomorrow, you could be there. I think that's what I've got for the latest today. I think that's what's the latest.
Me too. Have a great week, everybody, and we will see you next week. October 1st will be next week.